It's just, yeah. We're going to take it twice as fast.
And let me forewarn all of our subsequent conductors, the time allocations may seem rather brief, but it's all that for us. And I will try for all of you to not repeat similar topics. We'll try to move on to some things, other things, okay? We'll just use our conductors as a vehicle to introduce us to some other things. Okay, so what are some things that you particularly liked about Elisa's conducting?
Very clear, easy to follow.
Clear and easy to follow. You saying? Clear and easy to follow. Phrasing and eye contact.
It's well concentrated, it's not too broad.
Yep, excellent. What else?
I like the, when she's showing the style a lot, especially in the staccato part, she's showing no bounce, and she's going away from the beats and stay back.
Well done. Anything else?
You can see it in her face.
Right. So we're big fans. Okay, so
I'll sit down.
No, my list of positive things was longer than yours. I think that Elisa presents herself very well. There's a sense of poise and commanding without being kind of pushy. There's just sort of a calm confidence and poise. And a lot of that, for all of us, whether you feel that way or not, you want to present yourself that way. So there's something to our posture and how we do that. Again, we don't want to look like military or some kind of old school bandmaster or orchestra tyrant, but just somebody who is in charge in a calm way. So you do that really well. A lot of that is contained in Elisa's posture. Somebody also mentioned the eye contact is really good. Positive facial expression, reinforcement is also really good. This constant interaction between us as conductors, we as conductors, and players is really important. So that's good. So what's left? Let's talk about a couple of things here. I'm just, in the interest of time, jump into a couple of specifics. After the introduction, when we went to the first variation, we had 2 lines going on. I wasn't sure who you were conducting.
I might not have been either, actually.
And so I didn't know which one you felt. There's the Chaconne theme, but then there's the first counter line. And I'm not really clear which one you felt was more important.
I was switching
or
to who
which
I
one
felt like needed me more, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was one thing. The other thing too, in our last piece, one topic we didn't get to that would have been perfectly natural, more natural than here, is tempo modification. The last piece was very, very lyrical. But this piece, even though this is, somewhat, it doesn't need to be like this, especially in the Chaconne. We've got the march for that. So this can have a little bit of push and pull. So I would encourage you to let that happen, have a little bit of push and pull. So can you start right at bar 9, and let's do 2 things. Focus on what line, each time there's a new entrance, what you're wanting with it. And also, if you want to have a little bit of push and pull, that would be perfectly fine.
Okay. So trumpets.
Beat before?
Yeah, kick up to 9.
Subject, and let's see, imagine what you would do differently if it were you conducting, how one would look different than the other, and then what do you do when you've got both happening at the same time? We're going to miss you, Gloria.
I'm sorry. Same place?
Yeah, just the Chaconne first.
Okay.
Just the theme only, and then trumpets.
Is it coffee?
No, bar 9. Bar 9 is there. So do you want this to sound more lyrical or more rhythmic?
More lyrical.
Can you show that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
At the beat points. Can you do this once more, please? Just blend them together a little bit more. Try to not break them. They can see where the beats are, and they're really smart. So. The trumpets now, same place. And then finally they happily join each other at the end. Can you show this one more time and see if you can do something even more expressive?
Okay. This time with this
No, and then we're going to talk about what do you do when you've got several things going on.
Yeah, okay, good.
No, just then.
Oh, just then.
Just then. sometimes you're just you've got a limited number of body parts to use for cues and attention and so forth. But sometimes an effective thing is to not move your body, but just move your head. So let's say if I'm showing something over here, but the Chaconne is going on, I can just look over there, and that's maybe enough. So from the beginning, one last time, and we'll go a little farther.
Like very beginning?
Very beginning.
Yeah. E through F, because there's a lot of action there, and I want to make sure that this is worth Elisa's time.
Right?
Engaging in the mind. Very often it's helpful to think about what is the composer trying to do. And there are standard compositional devices. This is like a perfect lexicon of compositional techniques, just this one movement. What's going on here? Anybody? What's happening in the course of the piece? Okay, there's a pedal tone. Right, and this is the perfect kind of conversation to have with your students. What's the purpose of the pedal tone? Creates tension. Anticipation. Remember? Right? Great. It is that exciting. All right, so that's one thing. What else is going on here? What's coming up? What's around the corner? Yeah, the climax of the movement. Okay, knowing that that's coming up, what do we want to do here? Play louder or softer? Because it's all about contrast. This big moment is all about how that is set up from here. Now, the tempo is so slow. It may not be that many measures away, but in clock time, human time, it's a long way away. So we really need to suppress the dynamic, listen for the tension that the pedal tone, the anticipation of the pedal tone, and these other repeated figures build up. Okay? So if they're too loud for you, don't accept it. Do something to get their attention. So thank you so much. That's fantastic. But make sure you're giving the percussion some attention too on the relationship, the balance between the spiciness of the bass drum compared to the snare drum. Okay. How many of you have scores in front of you? Only a few? Okay. So Elisa, can you just explain to us what's going on at the letter, going into letter F?
Going into letter F. So
tell us about the 3 bars before F.
There is, to borrow a term from
look at your music, because this is in all of your parts. 3 before F?
So there's a hemiola over the bar,
Exactly.
right? And so it creates this kind of expanded version of 3/4 time. So ba-dum, da-dum, ba-da, ya, da, da, then the climax, boom.
Exactly. So perfect. Okay, that's exactly right. And it's all again in the service of, as Danielle was saying before, about building tension. More tension because it's not about sounding like it's in 3/4 anymore. But all of a sudden it sounds like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, like this. Okay, so we have the extra tension sounding like it's deviated into another rhythm. What is in your parts that we're not doing? Look at your articulation marks. We're phrased in ways that make it sound like 2/4, but we're not really doing that. And you could maybe underscore that point by showing that in your conducting, rather than going 1, 2, 3, 1, going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, like this.
Yeah.
These little things, and again, the point for all of us, with our students, you're going to have to be extremely vigilant about observing the notated articulations. Just like dynamics, it's easy to default into the middle, and to actually observe all of these things. When the phrase ends, that implies a little separation, typically a lift, before the next section. So for example, a clarinet has ya-da-dee-dum, ya-da-dee-dum, ya-da-da-da, not ya-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That's totally something else, which he could have written. He didn't. He's host. He knew what he was doing. So could we just do, Elisa, to finish off, we do 3 before F.
Yeah.
Actually, that's 2 of that. Let's go pick up to 5 before F. And let's make a big deal about the 3 bars into F for the big arrival at rehearsal F.
We'll do the pickup to that, so trombones.
Right, exactly. So the pick up to 5 before F. There are notated dynamics and there are implied dynamics. And all of you know where it just naturally feels like something's got to happen, and the composer didn't write it down because they know the music is being played by intelligent, sentient beings who will just figure it out. Okay, so something Elisa's doing, I'm going to ask you to exaggerate. There is more of a sense of climax at F, which is heightened by pulling back the tempo a little bit. So I would make the arrival at F sound like this huge event.
Okay.
Okay. So start at the same place, then we'll have to stop. You're starting 5 before F with pickup, and in the 3 before F, pull back even more and make a bigger deal about the arrival. Directed listening, who do we listen to pace this? What line? What instruments? Ba-dum, ba-da. Yes or no? Why? What's the general rule of thumb, which does apply here? The general rule applies here as well. Listen to the faster notes or the slower notes? The faster notes. Who's got the faster notes? We want to do 2 things. Listen for them and make sure that the arrival at F is logical. So we hear ya-da-dee-dum, ya-da-dee-dum, ya-da-da-dum, ya-da-da-dum, ah-ba. That's logical in the way we pull back. And there's not a hesitation. Ya-da-da-da. Wait. Ya-da. That's the danger, is that players can often arrive at the penultimate note too soon. So final thing for Elisa, but this is really for all of us. It's just at her expense. We're going to listen for the 8th note line to guide us through the transition to the arrival at F. And that's a good general principle.
3 3 before F, should we do that, or 3
5 before is better, so it
Okay.
comes in and
All right,
sometimes
same
after.
place from before.